Happy Thursday, friends. I'm really excited to get started on our second grade read aloud with you. We're going to be reading this book called Ruby Bridges Goes to School, My True Story. This is a book that we have read before a couple weeks back. I'm going to be rereading it though because one, it's just good to reread text to refresh our memory, get our brains moving, and because the more times you read the text, the more information you get out of the text. And two, there may be some of our friends that did not read this book, so it's really important that we read it right now. And as we've been doing every day this week, there is actually going to be two parts to our video. Part one with me right now, and then don't forget to watch part two to be practicing our skill of the day. So let's jump right in. Ruby Bridges Goes to School, My True Story. So we read a different text about Ruby Bridges a few weeks before that, and this is actually a text written by Ruby Bridges, which is what makes this book really special, and I'm really excited to read it with you guys today. Whoops. A long time ago, some people thought that black people and white people should not be friends. In some places, black people were not allowed to live in the same neighborhood as white people. This sign says, "We want white tenants in our white community." White tenants are people that live in a building. So this is saying that they only want white people living in their buildings. And then this sign says that this boy is holding, "We won't go to school with Negroes." In some places, black people were not allowed to eat in the same restaurants as white people. Here we have a white person with a whites only sign. And then this sign right here says for colored. So that restaurant was just for black people, this restaurant for white people. And in some places, black children and white children could not go to the same schools. This was called segregation. This word should be really familiar, right? This word means that black and white people were kept separate by law. The United States government said, segregation is wrong. People should live where they want. People should eat where they want. Children should go to school where they want. My name is Ruby Bridges. In 1960, I went to kindergarten in a school for black children. I liked my school. I liked my teacher. I liked my friends. But there was a school for white children even closer to my house than the school for black children. It was William Frantz Elementary School. The government said Ruby Bridges should be allowed to go to the William Frantz School. So this is a school that's for all whites. And now the government is saying that she's going to go to this school. In 1961, I was in first grade. My mother took me to the Frantz School. Marshals came with us to make sure that we were safe. So right here we have the marshals. Remember in our last text we learned that the president actually ordered these marshals, these men, to walk her into school because it was pretty dangerous for her at the time, and we'll see why. Some people did not want a black child to go to the white school. They stood near the school. They yelled at me to go away. So here we have all these white people that are protesting or fighting against this. They did not want Ruby going to their school. They did not want any black children at their white school, which we know, of course, is not fair. Even the government said it wasn't fair. But these people were not happy. And this is why Ruby had to walk with marshals, because it was not safe for her to walk by herself with all these people threatening her. Parents took their children out of school. I was alone with my teacher, Mrs. Henry. So there's Ruby and Mrs. Henry. So she was all by herself at school. I loved Mrs. Henry, and Mrs. Henry loved me. I was a very good student. I learned math, I learned how to read, but I wish the other children would come back. Months and months passed. Then, one day, children began to come back to school. At last, I had friends to play with. I was very, very happy. Many people have read about me in newspapers and books. A famous writer, John Steinbeck, wrote about me. He wrote that I was very brave. A First Lady, Eleanor Roosevelt, wrote a letter to me. The letter told me I was a good American. Remember, the First Lady of the country is the wife of the president. So Eleanor Roosevelt was the wife of the president at the time, so she was a very important person. Norman Rockwell was an artist who painted a picture of me. The painting has become very famous. Now I am grown up. I am married. I have children. One day, Mrs. Henry and I were both asked to be on a TV show. That was the first time we had seen each other in many years. Now we talk to each other often. Now black children and white children can go to the same schools. I like to visit schools. I tell my story to children. I tell children that black people and white people can be friends. And most important, I tell children to be kind to one another. All right, friends, get ready for part 2.